You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Dahnans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Dahnans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Dahnans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dahna's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dahna's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dahna's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dahna's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dahna's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dahna's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dahna's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dahna's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Everett 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dahna's will, well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were
No,
thinking?
that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Xion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dahna? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Rena's Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrect 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Rena's Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Rena's Alma, but it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we've...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world, Renans and Dahnans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dahna and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Phasal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrect 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. All right, time to get back on the Fall Knights.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled its end of the bargain.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere. Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
I don't sense even a trace of astral energy. This world is dead.
Then this must be the hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is that stuff?
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy, it went after Dahna.
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as Dahna is. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea, everything.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks of it, that's how it remains to this day. A world of death and emptiness.
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dahna, looking for another host.
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dahna's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared in the end.
If the oblivion and darkness both Shion and Naori saw comes to pass, nothing will survive. It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is Rena. This is where everything began. Yet it's a dead world?
I won't let Dahna suffer the same fate, ever.
A hollowed ocean as far as the eye can see. What do you think would happen if we fell in?
What do you mean, what would happen? You'd drown, wouldn't you?
Come to think of it, I don't believe I've heard of someone ever trying. Perhaps you'd like the glory of being the first?
Nah, I'll pass.
This is essentially a world-sized Renan graveyard. Are you proposing to disturb the dead slumber just to satisfy your curiosity, Law?
No, because I said I passed.
Taking an interest is understandable, but let's not forget where we are. This place deserves our respect.
Looks like we're not going to be hearing the end of this one for a while.
You'd think I was already snorkeling in it or something. So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Renaissance Alma using the Sovereign and Maiden's power. But just how do we do that exactly?
I'm guessing it won't be as easy as holding a spirit channeling ceremony at our leisure.
I already had wielded astral energy once 3 centuries ago. As for suppressing her thorns, Shion's had a lifetime's experience. The problem isn't just our enemy's strength, it's that it's sentient too. And you can bet anything you like it's not going to just sit back and let us destroy it.
In other words, we need to find some way to weaken it in advance. The Great Spirit, that is.
Back when Shion's thorns flew out of control, we were able to deal with them directly. If this is their host, they should be even more corporeal here.
If that's the case, it should make them easier to attack at least. And if we can manage to divert enough energy away from the spirit's core, even temporarily,
we might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Renaissance Alma, which we can then use to seal it away forever. It won't be easy, but it's our only shot. Time to buckle up. Question for you. Let's say, knock on wood, everything turns out for the best.
What'll the world be like? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of this, do you really think everything will be that different?
A lot will have to change, that's for sure. The world will have to adjust to so much. My only worry is if those changes turn out to be merely skin deep.
What do you mean?
It's well and good putting an end to Renan rule. But if it just turns the tables, it's all for naught.
That's true. Just as bad if the Dahnans started pressing their own.
Renans, Dahnans, astral art users, mages. The world is full of labels used to divide and separate people.
If only we could see differences like that for what they are. No different to someone having a musical talent or being good with their hands. Not differences so much as characteristics.
It will take someone in power to set an example. But with time, people will follow. And then, perhaps one day...
There will no longer be any need for the example. It will have become second nature.
That's where we come in. We can set the example. Imagine it. A world where magic and astral arts are used to help people. Where that's the norm rather than the exception.
Yeah, you're right, Rinwell. Why wait for somebody else? We can show them ourselves.
I just realized something!
Is this about dinner last night? I didn't realize those ingredients were off.
What? No! I mean, wait, you fed us rotten food?
Rinwell, the point.
Oh, yeah, right. So I was thinking about those armored soldiers we've seen. There are regular Renans inside them, right?
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing them stronger. At least, I think that's the idea.
Right. So it kind of begs the question then, why are they made so huge?
I don't know, makes them more intimidating, I guess? Or maybe all that tech wizardry inside takes up a lot of space.
You don't think it's weird how the armored soldiers are the exact same height as the Helganquil?
Can't say I'd ever noticed it till now. And?
Connect the dots, Law!
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the armored suits might have originally been designed to allow Renans to work alongside the Helganquil?
Huh. But if that's true, what would that mean?
It would mean... just that, I guess. But still, don't you think it's kind of interesting?
Not hugely. Hey, Kisara, while I've got you, what's on tonight's menu? Because I was thinking, maybe meat?
Get him, Hootle.
What did I do?
Oh, now you want to listen. Keep pecking, Hootle!
Ow! Seriously, what the hell? You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out a lot of Zoogles. Like, a whole lot.
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this world, it's that wherever we go, we'll always end up bumping into them.
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think the Renans have, like, a ranch where they breed them, do you?
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing such a massive facility on Dahna, let alone up in Lenegis.
The only thing I can think of, then, is that the feral ones must be reproducing on their own.
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt them down, so it's difficult to fully exterminate them.
Exterminate them? Whoa, don't you think that's maybe a little harsh?
What do you mean?
Zoogles originally used to be living creatures native to Dahna and Rena, right? Being genetically modified isn't their fault.
You're right. Zoogles were only created because of us Renans. We altered the original creatures to suit our own ends.
First, people made Zoogles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying to kill them because they're a threat. They really have only seen the very worst, huh?
I hope we find a way to be able to live side by side with them one day.
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities. What else are we supposed to do?
Aside from the strays that have gone wild, it's worth remembering that Renans are able to keep them somewhat under control.
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap, that might reduce the danger they pose.
Well, I guess when you look at it that way, maybe people and Zoogles aren't so different after all.
styling technique.
How are your weapons holding up?
Best not give me any ideas. The heavens must be smiling.
Hoo-hoo! Hoo-hoo-hoo!
What a wonderful treasure this is.
I see you've got your relics all lined up again. What are you doing? Huh? They're so bright now.
Oh, it's you two. I was merely tending to my collection.
Don't you think you've polished them enough by now?
You take better care of your relics than you do yourself.
I try to take good care of them. However, no matter how much work I put in, it refused to respond.
I thought you could hear their voices somehow.
I can, but that's all I can do with them. I can't actually engage in conversation with them. Not yet.
What are they saying? Did they really want you to polish them that much?
You're right. I was so enraptured with them, I may have selfishly failed to consider their own wishes. I must open my mind and sincerely engage with them in earnest.
He never gets tired of his relics, does he?
Nope. It is interesting to look at them when they're all lined up together like this, though. Like how these two have similar designs. It makes me wonder if they were made in the same period.
An excellent observation. Yes, I too suspect they're somehow intimately related as well.
I don't see what you two are talking about at all.
What's this? Why, that smear wasn't there previously. Could it be responding to my voice at long last? It's rather viscous and has a distinct aroma to it.
Ugh, Hoodle! These relics are no place for you to do your business! Whew! I'm serious! These are priceless pieces of history!
Come on, Dohalim. Let's go wash your hands before you catch anything weird.
That treasure. What a sweet-sounding ring it has.
You really think so?
Hey, Rinwell, tell me about your parents. What were they like?
They were kind. That's the part I like to remember. They could also be strict, though, especially when it came to magic. I never understood why I had to work so hard to learn magic. Why we couldn't just be done with it and live openly like everyone else. Needless to say, that didn't go over well. Of course, if I'd had known that one day I'd be doing this, I would have taken my studies more seriously. What about your parents?
Same deal. Run through the mill. Told constantly that training was the only way to survive in a world like this. It got bad enough that I ended up running away and siding with the Renans of all people. And now, I've got that training to thank for being alive.
I know how that feels.
The first time we met, you risked using your magic to stop me from kicking my dad's ass. You could have done anything else. You could have ignored it. So, why?
Yeah, I guess something about Zephyr reminded me of my own father.
You don't say. So, did your pops and mine look a lot like each other?
Not really. Not at all, in fact. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt a resemblance, I guess.
Wow. Well, I won't pretend I understand, but I'm glad. Your dad must have been a great guy.
He was.
Maybe it's the snow soaking up all the sound, but something about Cislodia always feels mysterious to me. Solemn, almost.
When it comes to solemnity, I'd say our own Octalina Palace is no slouch.
I won't argue with you there. Still, that azure tint of the shadows on the silvery white snow, it has a certain indescribable quality.
Indeed. It was boorish of me to even suggest such a comparison.
All I know is it's freaking cold. Still, more pleasant now that the locals aren't quite as frosty towards us.
Well, excuse me if I'm too frosty for your warm self.
Oh, come on! You know I didn't mean you. Besides, really, I'm the one who...
How about we stop getting hung up on the past for a change? Take what you've learned and put it to use in the future instead.
An unexamined past can be just as dangerous in its own right.
Better that than obsessing over it like a certain someone I know.
Kisara doesn't mince her words, does she?
I could say the same thing about one or two of the other women around here.
Tell me about it.
I think I'll refrain from commenting on this one.
Poodle, I've got some dried fish for you. You want some?
Forget that. Doesn't some tasty red meat sound better, boy?
Hey! Stop trying to coax him away with treats. Get your own adorable sidekick if you're so desperate for one.
He appears to enjoy being the center of attention.
Funny how things change. He and Rinwell used to be joined at the hip, or shoulder to talon.
It's not just Hootle who's become more trusting. Isn't that so, Rinwell?
They do say pets and their owners act alike. I suppose since we've been together, I've done my share of coming out of my own shell too.
Well then, I guess with you and Hootle, that makes us all one big happy family.
Sometimes when I'm deep in thought, Hootle will come over and sit next to me. I only wish I could actually pet him.
Oh, you will someday. You won't believe how soft he is.
Wish I had that problem. I'm lucky if I can so much as look at old Featherbrain without him trying to claw me to ribbons.
Really? He seems tame enough around everyone else. Maybe it's just Hoodle's way of establishing dominance?
That's dogs, not owls.
What's going on when Hootle pecks at you?
I don't know. Like when I'm talking to Rinwell, it's like he's trying to muscle me out or something. Unless... Wait, you don't suppose I make him jealous?
Come again?
Ow! Get off of me, you insecure fluffball!
I rather think they make a good comedic pairing.
Hey, she's pretty cute.
Who are you looking at? Quit gawking and let's go.
Ow!
My word, this must be the work of Providence.
Prava what now?
It means destiny. I think it's a bit of an exaggeration, though. I think Hootle senses something.
Hey, Law. Been training?
Yeah, I guess I got a little carried away. You think this is bad, you should see the state of my underwear.
Yeah. A word of advice. You might want to refrain from mentioning that stuff around girls. Ones without a military history especially.
Man, can you imagine Rinwell's face? She'd have a nervous breakdown.
I meant in general, but you sure mention her a lot, you know.
Huh? Oh, you know, she's always there, even when you least expect it. Springs to mind easily.
Either that, or maybe some part of you is subconsciously always wishing she was there.
May the trials and tribulations of young romance never change.
Romance? Like I'd be interested in that know-it-all tomboy. I'm more about mature women. Someone more like Kisara.
You know, I used to be a tomboy too when I was Rinwell's age.
Look, it's not tomboys I have anything against. But come on, you've got to admit she can be a lot to handle.
Hey, I miss anything? What's all the fuss about?
Rinwell.
Thunderblade!
Ah! What the hell was that for?
A little birdie told me you were speaking about me behind my back. Whew!
From the looks of it, I'd say you've got yourself a rival.
It wouldn't be called the Spring of Youth without a little storm every now and then.
Hey, Shion. How are you and Alphen getting on these days?
That's a little out of the blue. Why do you ask?
Sorry, it's just... I don't know, I'm just curious, I guess. I mean, a lot's changed now he's got his senses back and all.
I suppose you're right. Well, to tell you the truth, if he'd been the way he is now back when I'd first met him, I probably wouldn't have gotten this involved. But then, if we hadn't met like we did, then I never would have experienced these feelings, so... I guess it's complicated.
I can imagine. I know it's not the same thing, but I know what it feels like to have someone you love who's out of reach.
Because of Miguel.
Alphen's still alive. It's not too late, you know. And after all, who can say what the future holds? I think if I were you, I'd take things as they come for now.
Besides, touch isn't everything. I've never touched you, Shion, but that doesn't stop you from knowing that I care about you, right?
That's true. But I do remember back when we first met, you made it plenty clear you weren't my biggest fan.
But that was a long time ago. There were lots of things I didn't understand back then. Not that that's the point.
Don't worry, I'm only teasing. I know what you mean. Thank you. And you're right. There are ways to convey your feelings besides just touching.
I'll say, cooking immediately springs to mind. And if it's someone's favorite dish, all the better. If there's something on your mind that you want to tell him, why not try appealing directly to his stomach?
You might just have a point. I'll give it a shot.
Uh-oh. If it's Alphen's palate you're appealing to, that doesn't bode well for the rest of us.
Well, friendship is about being supportive. Sometimes we just have to do our best and take one for the team, right?
Even after staying here, we never truly got to the bottom of what makes this realm's citizens tick.
Renan and Dahna are meaningless distinctions here. To have one's own mind is strictly forbidden. All that matters is blind obedience.
That might be the case now, but it can't always have been like that. There must have been something more.
Once, maybe. Question is that something still salvageable?
If it's not, we'll just have to make something new. No, not we. They've had enough foisted on them as it is.
You're right. It's time the people here had the chance to forge their own path. That's not to say it'll be easy, but it will be worthwhile.
These things take time to... What the... An ambush?
Sorry. There was a huge flying bug and I sort of shot without thinking.
A bug? You mean like a Zoogle?
Something tells me she would have shot it, whether it was a Zoogle or not.
This realm is teeming with humid forests. It's only natural insects would feel more at home here than Menancia. In fact, I seem to recall reading somewhere that bugs around these parts lay their eggs in human food to ensure healthy incubation.
Sounds like they're tougher than they look.
What about you, Alphen? Bugs don't creep you out?
I wouldn't say I was their #1 fan. Mind you, if times get desperate enough, I've been known to eat them.
Insects as a culinary option, you say? What kind of seasoning are we talking?
Dohalim, I don't think he was talking about cooking them.
Hey, a lizard!
This shall be a feast for the senses.
Sure is good to be back in the pleasant climes of Menancia. Especially after the extremes of some of the other regions we visited.
Definitely. Your country is beautiful.
You do me an honor. However, this place was never mine to own.
I didn't mean it that way. Though, I guess technically you weren't born here either. Native or not, that doesn't change the feelings you had for the place. If I were you, I'd try to take a little pride in people's compliments.
Allow myself to feel pride, huh? That sounds like no easy task.
Nothing sounds easy when you overthink things the way you do. It must be exhausting.
He's always worrying about something. It's probably what gives him his eye for detail. That's just the way he is.
Yeah, so we'd noticed.
Let's change the subject, shall we? It's a wonder so many things coincided to bring us here. Alphen's awakening, Shion's decision to revolt, the Dahnan uprising in Calaglia, the crown contest's final, sputtering throws.
Zephyr's being in the right place at the right time. The fact that you happened to be a lord just as this was all going on.
It's almost as if we were brought together by design. By someone who wanted to bring down the system.
No, enough Hand of Destiny talk. We did this on our own steam. It's our responsibility to see it through.
Did Law just utter a pearl of wisdom?
I do think about things, you know. Just what do you take me for exactly?
Honestly, I always sort of pegged you as a likable dolt.
What the hell makes me a dolt, you dolt?
I mean, she did say he was a likable dolt, didn't she?
Let's refrain from poking this particular Zoogle any further. Some lessons just can't be taught.
Not to dolts, anyway.
Hey, Kisara, what's your secret for putting up with Dohalim? I don't know how you managed to deal with him.
Secret? Oh, I don't think it's as difficult as all that, really.
Could have had me fooled. Anyone who waxes lyrical on the aesthetic qualities of cactus thorns is a step too far for me.
And those poetic flourishes he sneaks into regular conversation? How am I supposed to react?
He likes the sound of his own voice, that's for sure. I say let him have his fun. No need to try and understand anything he says.
Has he always been like that?
He didn't seem as on edge all the time back in Menancia. Though he was my superior back then. So who's to say what I didn't see?
The Lord of Cislodia hid in plain sight while a crony posing as him carried out all his business. What if the Lord we met in Vicente was really...
An imposter? Dohalim? Hardly. Like it or not, that's him all right. In all his flamboyant, circumloquacious glory.
I'd like to see someone try to impersonate that on a daily basis.
Come to think of it, what with being a lord and all, he's probably never had anyone to speak to on an equal basis.
It wouldn't surprise me. Having you guys around, having a family in a way, must be what's helped him change.
A little heads up on some of his eccentricities would have been nice.
It's those eccentricities that make him who he is.
I think Hoodle senses something.
My word, this must be the work of Providence.
Prova what now?
It means destiny. I think it's a bit of an exaggeration, though.
I never thought about this until now, Alphen, but doesn't it get hot wearing that armor all the time? You feel heat and cold again, don't you?
Admittedly, yeah. It can get pretty toasty in this thing.
Is it hard when your back starts to itch?
Oh, you bet. Plus, my shoulders get stiff wearing it, even if it's not all that heavy.
Kisara looks like she manages all right with her armor.
Armor takes a strong body and a stout heart.
Spoken like a true guardsman. Not that I really get what you mean.
The more I think about it, the more I realize what a pain it must be. Like, what do you do when you need to take a leak?
Ew!
That part can be a bit of a pain, yeah. More things to take off.
That sucks, man. Wouldn't it be easier if you just walked around outside of your armor most of the time instead?
You never know when the enemy might attack. As tempting as it might be to take it off, it's not worth getting killed over.
So basically, you're screwed if you ever get attacked while taking a dump. Right, Rinwell?
Are you doing this on purpose? Oh?
Right.
Okay, off we go.